And welcome back to the last video for the week. So this week was all about FX and fills. So we learnt what FX actually are. Now you can refer to these as FX as in EFFECTS, but it's more commonly spelled just F and X. That way you can differentiate between the two, between audio effects and effects much better. So when I'm talking about effects, I mean like this. So we learnt what effects are, which effects to use in what scenario, and we also learnt about fills. Now even if you don't use these much in your productions, like I was saying, there are so many effects out there, and some of them are more subtle, some are more in your face. It will depend on the type of genre you make, how many you use, how hard you go with the effects on your track. If you're into EDM or anything dance music, you're going to be using a lot of effects. Even if you make pop, you'll be using quite a bit. Same goes for hip hop, trap, and most other electronic genres. If you make more acoustic music, you might be using less effects, but you'll still be using fills quite a bit. Obviously, especially with acoustic songs, you have a drummer. The drummer's usually always playing a fill or something different every 4 bars or so. And even if your genre doesn't typically use effects, maybe just give it a go, throw some in there, some subtle ones, see how it works, and you might come up with some new ideas, new sounds, and that's how you push the boundaries of your own genre, whatever you're trying to create. Now for my track here, I try not to go overboard with the effects that I used, so I still used quite a bit, but I didn't really step into vocal effects or Foley or that kind of stuff, because I didn't really feel like it needed it at the point. A lot of the time with this kind of thing, you don't really know if something's going to work until you actually put it in there either, so you can find some sounds that you sound completely off on their own, but when you actually throw it into your track, you might stumble upon some magic. So definitely experiment with it, throw some sounds in there, see if they work. Remember also with these effects, because they are auto tracks, you can pitch these up and down with the transpose. So let's take, what have we got? So let's say we take this riser that I used here. I'm just going to solo this and bring the volume back up. Let's say if that was too high pitched for you, you can always transpose this down. So now it sits a little bit lower in the mix. You can play around with that as well. Also, don't forget to use the pitch bend in your MIDI clips. You can affect lots of other controls and automate other controls, but the most impactful one that I use the most often would have to be the pitch bend in here. And it can give you some really cool sounds and really cool effects, especially if you use it on something like a bass. So let me take this bass here. So at the moment this bass is quite flat, it's quite even, it's just playing the notes. If we could actually add a little dip to this, so let's just do this here. So what I'm going to do is just put a point right about here, one at the start. Then I'm going to put one about here and just drag this one up a little bit. You can see we've got a little bit of variation in our bass now. It's not so even and flat. And we're still staying in key, we're still keeping this note. It's just at the start, there's a little bit of a pitch drop. So it just adds a nice little feel to the bass, especially if you add a curve like this. So remember that was Option or Alt. And you can copy curves like copying automation curves in the arrangement view. We can copy these as well. So if I just highlight this area and Command C, Control C to copy and paste it, I can just put it at the start of every note. So let's see how that sounds. Also added a little bit of almost like an impact now because we've added that pitch bend. Starts at a high pitch and drops, so it feels almost like the bass hits a little bit harder. Cool, so I'm liking that. I'll leave that in there. Also show you with this one as well. So I might add a little bit of wiggle to this long note here. I'm just going to insert a couple points. I'm actually going to go down and then up. So I want it to be pitched down at the start and then reach the note about halfway. So you can see how that adds a nice little bounce to that bass now. I'll take it away. It's very flat, very plain. Just adding this little pitch bend here. Just adds a nice little feel and groove to that bass. Same thing, we can also add the little curve to it. I'm not going to go too hard with it because I like how long it takes to get up. Yeah. You can do this to any of the notes. Feel free to go crazy with it. Just try not to pitch bend too much, otherwise you'll lose the actual melody of your notes, and then you won't really know where you are key-wise, and it might sound a little bit all over the place. So just add these nice little accents to it, because it really does help your instruments come alive. You can do this to any of the other instruments as well. So play around with that, with the pitch bend. And then also play around with creating your own fills like I did. Just so you can get a feel of, just helps you with your timing as well and your tempo. Gets you better at, there we go, hang on. So you can hear now that the bass is completely off. So if I solo it. So hear how that bass is completely off and out of key to what we had. If I go in here, oh no, now it's reset. See, it does it really randomly. So that's something to really watch out for, is just to make sure that your pitch bend is set. Now it's just automatically corrected itself, but it was out of key if you just rewind the video back to when I spotted it. It can really get a lot worse if you pause halfway while Ableton's doing a pitch bend, and if you do that and then you shift over to another section of the track, it can keep that pitch bend in. So just watch out for that. But yeah, like I was saying, back to the fills, practice doing your own fills, because it's going to improve your timing and tempo as well, and just writing in drums yourself. It's always good to practice that. And if you do them yourself with your own drums, you know that they're going to be unique, not just a generic fill that thousands of other people have used. So yeah, have fun with that. Have fun experimenting. If you're working in a genre where you barely use any effects, or you just don't want to use effects at all, I still encourage you to maybe even try something that's completely out of your comfort zone. So jump into EDM really quickly, just make a quick little track and then throw some effects in there. Just learn how they work. That way you can still get the experience and skills from what we've been doing, but you should be able to translate what we've learned anyway to your own tracks in your own individual ways. So that pretty much wraps it up for this week. Now next week we'll be jumping back into the audio effects, and we'll be covering about 4 or 5 effects, very important ones that will lead us into the final weeks as well. So enjoy yourselves while you use effects and fills in your own tracks. Like I said, just experiment with it and play around with them. Go on Splice if you have Splice, or just use some of the ones that come with Ableton if you don't. And then yeah, you can put them in a group as well, and you can listen to your track with them on and off, and then you can see how much difference it's actually making to your song as a whole. So that's it for this week, guys. Enjoy your weeks, enjoy your weekends, and next week we'll jump back into audio effects. So looking forward to it, and I'll see you then.